Hey YouTube, it's Wes. In today's video, we're going to cover some of the latest updates from the Pi core team on what's going on in the roadmap of the product all around utilities. I'll give you a couple reminders and refreshers on why it's important, as well as my own reactions on all of it. And honestly, it's kind of fun to be back into Pi again. We've been at the bottom of a hype cycle as the Pi core team has been developing stuff behind the scenes. So it's good to be back in the Pi system with you today. I'm going to share my thoughts and reactions on all of this and a whole bunch more coming right up. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this fine weekend. I finally got home. My flight was like super late. I was in Austin, Texas this week, and I'm trying this new thing, and I want to know how it reacts for you guys. Is when I go and travel, I want to bring you with me, and I'll just take you with where I'm going. And so I did that with yesterday's video. I covered just some of the audit processes and platforms that are out there that you can use to audit your own tokens. I hope that was helpful for you. Now, if you're not aware of who I am, let's just meet. Hey there, my name is Wes Spencer. I'm a technologist, I'm a cybersecurity guy, and I love cryptocurrency, and I cover all of those things in this channel. And you guys mean a whole bunch to me, and one thing you could do just as a quick thank you back, if you'll hit the subscribe button, I do appreciate it so much. Hit the like button, hit the bell icon to just stay up to date with all the goodness that's going on. Okay. So here's what I thought we would do. Late last night, we got an update, at least for me on my phone, of some of the new changes in, or maybe updates, I should say, in the Pi ecosystem. And I just thought I would cover that today and give you some updates on where things are going. Let's get started with this. I know in the community, there's been a lot of people whose patience has been wearing thin. And I totally understand that. There's been a lot of great promises and big things and a lot of hype coming out from Pi. Actually less from the core team and more from just the user base. If you've ever actually looked at this, the core team stays pretty level on what's going on and tries not to pump and hype things up. Oftentimes, if you've gotten to this point where you're like, man, this thing is taking way too long and I'm so frustrated by it and these big things that are promised aren't happening, go back and look. Just thought exercise for you. Who was saying all those things? Was it the community or the core team? So I think sometimes the Pi hype cycle is funneled by the user base, and that's okay. Just know you have to level all of that with the truth of where things are actually at, and the source of truth is the core team. So just wanted to throw that out there. Another thing I wanted to share as well is Pi made the decision to bring the community into the platform from the very beginning. Back when it was just an app and you could use it with referral codes to share with that viral nature, but they were a year, actually multiple years away from underlying technology manifesting. They made that decision to build the user base first. And you guys know on this channel, I've always said that's a very interesting approach. Most of the time, what companies will do, especially in crypto, is they're going to build the technology first and go find the market second. Pi is reversing that. They've built the market first and building the technology to keep up. And so that's where the perceived delays come from. And I did want to teach you one term from the startup world that I come from is many companies go in what they call stealth before they release the company. So if you ever hear someone say, yeah, I just started a company, but we're in stealth mode, what they mean by that is we're building the technology. We need a time period in which nobody knows what we're doing. It's all secretive. It's stealthy while we build and get this whole thing going. It might take a month, 6 months, very commonly a year. And Pi didn't really do a lot of that. They went straight into like marketing who they were and what they were building. And there's no right or wrong to that. It's just the difference that the customer perceived view of it, where they're like, since there's no stealth, they're like, where is this? What's taking so long? In reality, a lot of crypto projects, a lot of cybersecurity projects, and a lot of software itself does take years to build and get off the ground. You just don't see it because it's in stealth mode. So I just wanted to share those two kind of perceptions for you to say, look, if your patience is wearing thin, I understand that. No one can change your view on that. But I am just giving you a perspective of why things take a long time. And I actually don't think Pi is really all that far behind from where they should be because of the perceptions of how they wanted to create the company from the beginning. That's just my view on it. I could be right. I could be wrong. Don't ever listen to YouTubers as like your gospel. careful because if you listen to us, you're probably going to go bankrupt. So, just take that with a grain of salt. So let's cover some of the updates and new things in the Pi ecosystem. You should be able to see all the updates right here. I'm sharing my phone out with you so we can kind of look at this together. So this all came in from the core team right here. Updates in Q2 plans. So they're just refreshing us on the Q1 plan that they built was all about. They talk about milestones towards decentralization. In other words, the Pi browser came out, the Pi wallets came out. Now we're still in testnet, and I say this over and over, but there's still a lot of confusion in like the comments on my YouTube channel, so I'll just share it again. Keep in mind, all the Pi and the wallets right now are test Pi. The stuff you're earning that you see at the top of the app that actually I've marked out, you can't see it on mine, that's your actual Pi that you're claiming. When Pi goes to mainnet, what you're claiming will go into your wallet. Your test Pi goes away. It's just test Pi to try transactions. That's literally what it's for. Okay, so they built all that in Q1. They say, hey, we grew to 17 million engaged pioneers. That's really good. I do think. So just keep in mind, I want you to think about growth rates for a while. There was a lot of talk in the early days of Pi of like, could it get to 1 billion users? Well, we saw a quick ramp to 1 million, 5 million. I remember 5 to 10 was very quick. 10 to like 15 took a little bit longer, just in my mind. I could be wrong. And I'd love to see actual growth rates from the core team, by the way, just over time. But now we're at 17. So we're still growing. We're still growing quickly. My guess is we're leveling off a little bit. And that's okay. There's nothing alarming about like a leveling off of growth rates. Like it's still growing, but it's not, parabolically raising. And again, I think that's okay in the sense of, we're at the bottom of a hype cycle right now, right? No one's buying or selling Pi legitimately for anything real other than, some of those weird marketplaces that, whatever. So it's okay for the growth rate to kind of slow down a little bit. And you'll also notice and correlate, because we're in a bear market in crypto right now, and a lot of prices pretty much across the board are nosediving, interest in crypto goes down too. And that's just the nature of the beast, isn't it? Okay, so let's talk about Q2 that you see here right there in the app. They're talking about really this Q2 is all about building the Pi ecosystem on the utility side of the house. So remember, when they say Pi utilities, they're talking about the back end of Pi. They're talking about the undergirdings, what builds it up. So if you want an analogy, think of the utilities as like framing up a building. I'm building a new building, and the house is the nice part that everyone wants to see, the finished work and all the nice rooms, but you got to start with a foundation. You got to start with like the floor joists and then frame the house up. That's what Pi utilities really are from an analogy perspective, is we're building up the undergirdings of the Pi ecosystem so it can be fast, it can be robust, it can have a lot of features that will be used as well later on. And so it's less about like user-facing stuff that's going to make you go, whoa, that's so awesome, and more about the undergirdings that allow for the, whoa, that's so awesome stuff. So they give some examples here of what's being built. I'm going to talk about each one, and then I'm going to give you some reactions to them. So first one is integration with Testnet. So this is the capability for current third-party Pi apps, but more importantly, future ones that are developed by developers that are entering the Pi ecosystem once Pi is in mainnet. This is the ability for full integration in with Testnet. Now, why is that important? In all things software, we usually have like a QA, a quality assurance environment where we're testing things, where things can blow up and it doesn't affect things, and then production. And production is where users use things. And so going in with Testnet, in fact, most cryptos do this. Like think of Ethereum, for example. There's an Ethereum testnet. So if you're building a dApp, a distributed app inside of Ethereum, you want to test it, see how does it work? Are there bugs? I might want to do a whole bunch of transactions inside of it just to make sure it works. But you know what I don't want to do? I don't want to pay those Ethereum fees, which are crazy right now, to test my app. That's what Testnet is for. So I can test if there's bugs and failures along the way. No big deal. That's what Testnet's for. And that's the same thing with Pi here, is integration in with Testnet so that app developers can use Testnet to build apps and trial them, and then also eventually have it connect to mainnet as well. The second thing is integration with the Pi browser. So they talk about this here. just more integrations and more capability. We're going to get back to the Pi browser in a minute, but you should remember from my previous videos, there's the new Pi browser app that's out there, and that's going to be the centerpiece in which the apps are going to run on, and really the future of what you'll be using in the Pi ecosystem. That's what it's really all about. A new developer portal, so that's kind of cool. I personally don't know much about this. I don't do any development work anymore. Like my companies I run, they're like, Wes is not touching code, so I'm not super interested in jumping into that personally, but it's good to know that there's a portal there. That should probably have documentation, best practices, access credentials, all that kind of stuff if you want to start building applications inside of Pi, which is really awesome. I won't use it, but definitely nice to know that it's there. And then lastly, a standardized environment to build and deploy ecosystem apps. So this is what I was talking about, and they remind us right here, don't they, that this is the type 2 stuff. Type 1 is business apps, like things you would actually use Pi for. Maybe it's a marketplace or a bidding site that you use, or whatever it may be that you have for a business use case inside of Pi. But we're still talking about 2, the second one, which is not the business use case, it's the Pi utility stuff, the back-end things that make Pi run smoother, better, faster, more secure, whatever it might be. So they talk about this here as just a standardized environment to make that more simplified. And that's good because personally, I don't see much in the Pi ecosystem right now for people to build the utilities section of the platform. So it's nice to know that's there. And so I wanted to refresh you on this. Here is the Pi browser. I've got this open. And if you want to see more, just to, refresh your brain on what all the type 2 stuff is, I'm going to the Brainstorm app right here, and I'm going to scroll way down, and I want to find for you, here it is, the type 2 ecosystem app. So type 1 is business model. This is stuff that you might use, like I just said, for, a trading system, an eBay running on Pi, for example, for auctions or whatever. But ecosystem apps, this is back-end stuff. And oftentimes this will run on Pi servers. It makes Pi better. They give examples of some of this, like maybe an alternative wallet app. So you don't want to use the Pi app, you want to use something different, just like a Trust Wallet or a MetaMask in the other crypto world of stuff. Or they give you an example of a KYC app. Of course, that's huge right now. How do we do KYC in a worldwide environment where passports don't work for everybody? Some people, there's phone number issues, and how do I check a user and all that stuff that's going on. And so there'll be multiple KYC platform capabilities. Or maybe you're somebody that really understands Stellar really well, and you want to bring some technologies that Stellar brings and add it into Pi itself and give some capabilities there. But that's what the utility apps are for, and that's kind of what all those guys do. So that's just a quick tour through what's going on right now in Q2. So just know with Q2, what we are all about doing in the Pi ecosystem is building the undergirdings. We're still finishing up and framing that house. So hopefully when that is done, you'll see Pi move strongly into release towards mainnet. Now, I can't explain or tell you for sure when I think that will happen. Will mainnet be, at the end of this year? Will it be beginning of next? I think it's probably going to be somewhere close to that. That's just my guesses. I don't have inside information there. It'll happen when it happens. But it's good to know in Q2, that's what the Pi team is working on. They are just moving forward as fast as possible to finish the undergirdings so that the flashy stuff and the powerful things will come out, and to open up the ecosystem for Pi developers to bring their own platforms and their own software into the Pi ecosystem, which is what creates a robust environment. So overall, my thoughts on Pi. I'm still happy with it. It cost me nothing to try it. It's fun going down the journey with the Pi core team and just seeing what they're developing and seeing what they're building. We'll see what happens out of all of this. They're definitely the market leaders in the MMC space, what I call the mobile mining cryptos. It's just a term I created to kind of describe all of these that are out there. And it's definitely hitting on a need, a market where worldwide people want to be involved in cryptocurrency. But a lot of people don't have the capability to buy it. They don't have the capability to mine it. And so the leveling playing field is this right here, a phone. We all have one. And so why not use the phone to be the centralized platform, both to earn your cryptocurrency by, you're not really mining it, but just kind of getting access to it by staking it out, so to speak, by claiming your stake is a better way to say it, and opening an environment that's robust and usable for everybody. So I think it's cool. I like the journey. I'm walking down it to see where it goes. If it's successful, awesome. If it fails, we'll learn from it and we'll iterate and we'll see what the future will hold. All right, my friends, I hope this has been helpful for you. I'd love to know your comments, thoughts, feedback, questions. I read every comment. I certainly don't have time to read all of them. Be careful of the scammers and spammers that are out there. I will never ask you for your phone number. I will never provide you mine or like a WhatsApp or a Signal or a Telegram for any of that stuff. Be careful of all of that. But I really appreciate you guys, and I love hearing your comments and thoughts and feedback. So please let me know what your thoughts are. And while you're here, I asked you at the beginning, I'll ask you in closing, would you do a favor for me? Hit the subscribe button. If you'll hit the like button, please, and definitely the bell icon, and we'll stay in touch with each other, which is super, super fun. All right, my friends, I will talk to you later. Thanks.